Hey everybody, Mr. Bress back here, and we're continuing on with our evolution lectures. And this time we're going to get at the formation of fossils. And it's just a real brief one that we had in the lecture guide that kind of understands this theory of superposition and how layers of sedimentary rock are formed. So let's head on over to our lecture guide. All right, so here we are on part 6 or day 7 of our evolution unit. And there's a few videos here that help and some readings that help put this into even greater detail. But what we learned about in lecture for this day is this what's called this the theory of superposition. And that theory is super simple. It just means that in layers of rocks, in layers of sedimentary rock, the way that which sedimentary rock is formed is as debris or silt from rivers and ponds flows to the bottom, that forms a new layer. And over time, as more and more silt or sand or things are blown in, dirt, it creates weight and pressure below that forms, that squeezes those layers into layers of actual rock. And as new layers come in, those layers are younger, are newer at the top, and the layers on the bottom are older. And occasionally what will happen is an animal that dies will fall to the bottom of that river, that pond, that deserty area, and the flesh of the animal will be degraded away. I can't think of the word that I'm looking for right now, but the skeleton will stay there. And then over time, through pressure, that creates a fossil that's locked into that layer of sediment. And knowing about this idea of superposition, we can kind of determine the age of that fossil. So our first question is, in the image of sedimentary rock, which layer is the oldest? So what we said before is that the oldest layer is this one at the bottom. That's where the oldest layers are found. So that is C. And which layer is the youngest? So that's a simple that the layer up at the top is the youngest. A. So now we have this simple cartoon here. In the cartoon of fossils and sedimentary rock, which fossil is older? Well, since this layer here this layer is older than this layer up top, I know that if this animal that died and was fossilized in here has to be older than the one above it. There's no other way for that fossil to get into that layer of rock. So we know that this is A is older. And that is because it is in a lower layer, located in lower sedimentary rock layer. And then I spent quite a bit of time, just I thought the story was so cool, is why were scientists looking for ancient whale fossils in mountains and deserts? And these were the mountains and deserts in Pakistan. And the reason for that is because when there was the transition, the evolutionary transition period between mammals that's only walked on land to mammals that lived in the water, aka whales, that happened between about 40 and 60 million years ago. And that transition, scientists predicted, would need to have happened near a body of water, near an ocean, a sea. And what they knew is around 40 to 60 million years ago, there existed a sea between what is now India and the mainland of Pakistan. And that sea, called the Tethys Sea, existed at just the right time for when this evolutionary transition would have happened. But over time, with continental drift, those continents collided, converged, and created and pushed up on each other and created the Himalayan mountains. And these ancient animals that would have died and been buried under silt would have been locked into these sedimentary rock layers. And as those plates converged and pushed up, then those sedimentary rock layers would now be exposed in the mountains. Before, they would have been buried under many layers of sediment and even at the bottom of a sea. And now, with that convergent boundary, they were pushed up. So why were scientists looking for there? Because it was the Himalayan mountains were actually the bottom of the Tethys Sea, which existed at the time of evolutionary transition from land mammals to whales. All right, so that just fills in that little mini section there, and I'll be back with another video in just a moment. All right, bye-bye.